各位观众，下午好！非常感谢大家在百忙之中抽空
Dear
参加
audiences, good afternoon. Welcome to attend today's webinar, Invest in Europe, Choose Brussels webinar on investment environment, logistics capabilities, and compliance in Europe for medical device sector. I'm Crystal. I'll be the moderator for this webinar. I am from hub.brussels Shenzhen office. Today, this webinar is jointly organized by hub.brussels and lifetech.brussels, and will be presenting the investment environment, policies, logistics strength, as well as the EU compliance requirements for medical devices. Please allow me to introduce the guest speakers today. We have the Trade and Investment Commissioner, Brussels, Consulate General of Belgium in Shanghai, the Commercial Council, Mr. Matthias de Broya. We also have the Senior Business and Network Development Manager from Brussels Freight, Mr. Jean Lennon. We also have the Expert Consultant of Bellis Group, Madam Sabrina Yu. Dear audiences, if you wish to raise questions, feel free to type in a question in the chat room or scan the code by leaving a message in the WeChat group. We'll have a Q&A session at the end. At that time, Ms. Asha Mihalik from Obelis will be joining us for the Q&A. Okay, first and foremost, please join me to welcome Mr. Matthias to deliver the opening remark. Welcome. Thank you, Crystal. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests to today's webinar, I'm very happy to welcome you all to the webinar, Invest in Europe, Choose Brussels. This webinar is organized by hub.brussels and lifetech.brussels. The theme is Invest in Europe, Choose Brussels, webinar on the investment environment, logistics capabilities, and regulatory compliance in Europe. My name is Matthias de Broya. Chinese name is Ma Han. I am the Trade and Investment Commissioner for hub.brussels and Economic and Commercial Council based at the Consulate General of Belgium in Shanghai. Due to my limited Mandarin proficiency, I will be having the rest speech in English.
The hub.brussels team was feeling very excited. Indeed, medical technology companies are working to save and improve people's lives. The goal is to make people live longer and to make people live better. Also, MedTech companies are contributing to the improvement of the sustainability of the healthcare system. Bearing these thoughts in mind, we are very happy to welcome you all, and we hope that we can contribute to this shared mission. Brussels is the Brussels Agency for Business Support, and it is the official agency responsible for promoting sustainable economic and trade development and attracting foreign direct investment in the Brussels capital region of Belgium. Brussels has got an international network of offices around the world, and in China, Brussels has got 3 offices, in Shanghai with colleagues Elise Shen and Victoria Gao, in Beijing with Han Dandan, and in Shenzhen with Crystal He. Our hub.brussels team in China assists Brussels-based companies to develop business in China, and we also assist Chinese companies to open up an office in Brussels. The Brussels capital region is one of the 3 regions of Belgium. Brussels is an open and forward-looking city. Brussels hosts the decision-making bodies of many international organizations, such as the European Union, which is why it is said that Brussels is not only the capital of Belgium, but also the true heart of Europe. Being located at the center of Europe, it is a first-rate international logistics hub with global connectivity. Thanks to its many assets, being successful in Brussels is easier and provides a better guarantee for successful growth in Europe. Brussels' economy is a smart and innovation-driven economy with many strong sectors. Today, we will focus on healthcare technologies as today's webinar is organized with LifeTech Brussels. LifeTech Brussels is the Brussels cluster gathering 150 members, including innovative health tech startups, companies, partners, and hospitals. Its mission is to support the development of innovative health solutions. LifeTech Brussels launched the MedTech Accelerator program to accelerate growth of innovative startups. Brussels is a center of excellence for healthcare technologies. Brussels' main fields of expertise are clinical trials, e-health, and medical equipment. A particular field of expertise is oncology, as 19% of all clinical trials related to cancer in the EU are conducted in Brussels. The Brussels authorities are supporting the development of e-health through e-health Brussels, with focus on continuity of care, patient empowerment, prevention, and personalized medicine. Brussels has set up the Brussels Medical Device Center. So where does this leading position for Brussels come from? Well, we should not be surprised when we look at some figures at European level. Even though Belgium only has 2% of the EU population, it accounts for 6% of value added, 13% of exports, and 10% of R&D of the European biopharmaceutical industry. The exceptional healthcare ecosystem supporting innovation in combination with a highly qualified workforce, the R&D tax incentives for innovation and easy access to finance are just some of the main drivers of this success. It is no wonder that Belgium is an international hub for the distribution of COVID-19 vaccines, for example. The medical technology sector is not only important for Brussels and Belgium, it is also an important sector for China. And the evolution over the past 5 years of the bilateral trade between China and Belgium and the Brussels Capital Region clearly shows the importance of the sector for both countries. The significant growth of imported medical devices and pharmaceuticals from China in 2021 shows that this webinar comes at the right time for Chinese MedTech companies. Today's webinar is mainly organized from our office in Shenzhen with Crystal as our representative, in cooperation with support partners that are based in Shenzhen and Zhuhai. And that is not a coincidence. Both cities are vibrant cities that put high-tech innovation as core of their development model. And both cities have dynamic clusters of young medical device companies that have products that can meet high international standards and that have the ambition to go overseas. So we are very grateful to count today on the support from the Shenzhen Association of Medical Devices, the Shenzhen Life Science and Biotechnology Association, and the Zhuhai Association of Enterprises for Foreign Economic Cooperation. I am delighted to be able to count today on excellent speakers too, from Brussels, Brussels Airport, and from Obelis. It was our intention to make a webinar that is as business-oriented as possible, so you have all the tools you need to go overseas, and we are confident that the speakers of today, they will give you those tools. So I wish to thank the speakers of today for their great contribution. 最后，希望大家有所收获，也期待和大家
Last but not least, I wish all of you a very interesting webinar and hope we can have some exchanges with you after the webinar. Thank you.
感谢 Matthias 的发言。是的，正如 Matthias 所说
Thank you, Matthias. Yes, just as Matthias has said, Shenzhen and Zhuhai and also the GBA area is a vibrant region, and it has produced a lot of medical device enterprises with indigenous innovation and market-leading technologies. And Chinese companies are being recognized by international markets. As the size of the overseas customers are increasing, many companies are seeking presence in overseas markets, especially in order to address the needs of the regional markets and strengthen their operation locally, and also to ensure the stable supply of the markets in the region. So when we need to go into Europe, the second largest medical device sector, which country should we choose in order to get better access to the European market? Please allow me to deliver the first presentation, Invest in Brussels, your gateway to the European market, life sciences.
首先为大家简单介绍比利时。
First of all, let me say a few words about Belgium. As you can see from the picture, Belgium is located in Western Europe across the sea from Britain, and our neighbors are the Netherlands to the north, France to the south, and Germany to the east. And the languages of the three neighboring countries happen to be our official languages. As the crossroads of Europe, three European cultures, Anglo-Saxon, Germanic, and Latin, converge here. With a population of over 11 million, Belgium's entire population is smaller than the resident population of Shenzhen. And Belgium is a constitutional monarchy, and the head of state is Royal Highness King Philip paid a state visit to China in 2015. High-level bilateral exchanges have been frequent, and in 2019, Princess Astrid, a representative of the Belgian royal family, led the largest economic and trade delegation in Belgian history to China, and during which she met with Vice President Wang Qishan. Last year, 2021, marked the 50th anniversary of diplomatic ties between China and Belgium. President Xi Jinping and King Philip exchanged congratulatory messages. We believe that robust and long-standing Sino-Belgian relations are strong catalysts for companies to do business in each other's markets. The capital of Belgium is Brussels, and I represent not only the city, but also the Brussels capital region, one of the three administrative regions of Belgium. The Brussels capital region is French and Dutch-speaking region. It only covers an area of about 162 square kilometers, about the same as the Nanshan district of Shenzhen. Although it accounts for less than 1% of Belgium's territory, it contributes close to 20% of the country's GDP. And Brussels is a true illustration of a small place with a big heart. There are less than 200 countries in the world, and Brussels is home to 180 nationalities and a foreign population of up to 70%. So what is it about Brussels that attracts so many people from different countries to work and live here? Brussels is not only the capital of Belgium, but also the capital of Europe by default. As the headquarters of the European Union, Brussels influences the political and economic development of 27 European countries. And any policy, regulation, or political decision taken in Brussels may impact Chinese exports to the EU, investments and operations of Chinese companies in the EU. For the medical device companies attending today's webinar, the most relevant impact was the compliance challenges posed by the MDR and IVDR, which have been officially implemented in the past 2 years. Brussels has a wealth of professional resources for compliance with first-hand practical information to help companies manage compliance in a timely manner. Later today, Obelis Group, a European compliance solutions provider, will talk to you about how to avoid traps on the road to compliance. In order to better collect and utilize information and resources from the EU, many national and regional governments have commercial representative offices in Brussels. This includes the Shenzhen European office. In addition, as an important tendering market, the EU has an annual public procurement of about 670 billion euros. Some of our clients have already told us that they are considering setting up a presence in Belgium because they want to have dedicated local staff to follow up the tenders of the healthcare institutions in the EU member states, and also having those staff responsible for their implementation. In addition, more than 1,000 journalists and 5,000 diplomats based in Brussels are a direct channel for companies to raise their profiles from Europe to the world. In addition to being a political center, Brussels is also at the geographical heart of Western Europe. With a 500 kilometers radius covering 60% of Europe's purchasing power, it is ideal for companies with a focus on Western Europe to establish presence and use Belgium as gateway for the entire EU market. In terms of transportation, before the epidemic, there were already 3 direct flights from China to Brussels, from Beijing, Shenzhen, and Hong Kong to Brussels. And the greater choice of flights make travel more flexible. So now Hainan Airlines continue to operate a route between Brussels and Beijing. And Brussels Airport is only 12 kilometers from the city center and is directly accessible by bus and train, ensuring efficient arrival. For the high-speed train, major neighboring cities, including Paris, London, Amsterdam, and Cologne, can all be reached in less than 2 hours from Brussels, with a high frequency. As a connectivity hub in Europe, Brussels brings great convenience for investors to visit Europe and visit customers before they settle in. Especially for medical device companies, they can organize training for regional customers and agents in Belgium and speed up after sales. It takes people to run a business and to do the work. Belgium's talent pool is recognized by companies in a number of indicators. As far as language is concerned, it is easy to hire multilingual staff in Brussels for the development and maintenance of several markets in the vicinity, thus reducing employment costs. In addition, Belgium is one of the very few continental European countries where English is widely spoken, which meets the communication needs of most Chinese investors. The OECD also quantifies the productivity of people in each country, and the value that Belgium's productivity adds to the companies is significant. High-caliber talents are the cornerstone of Belgium's innovative development. As one of the world's most innovative economies, Belgium is among the world's leading countries in terms of the quality of research and cooperation between industry, academia, and research and funding agencies. It also has great support for R&D, with one of the world's strongest tax incentives for R&D. Businesses need to rent offices for their operations, and in Brussels, the rents for premium office space are no higher than that in central Shenzhen. This graph shows the main destinations in Europe for Chinese companies going abroad. You can see that the rental market in Brussels is very competitive. In addition to traditional office leasing, more and more companies are opting to move into incubators or co-work space due to the need for easy procedures and a quick move-in. Brussels offers a wide choice of office space in a variety of locations for different budgets, staff size, and industries. Industrial parks in Brussels also offer affordable rents. Medical device companies requiring very large showrooms, multiple training rooms, and warehousing can make better use of this space. Business environment in Brussels is also recognized by foreign investors. In 2021, Belgium ranked 6th among European countries for FDI with 245 FDI projects, of which Brussels accounted for a 16% year-on-year increase in the number of projects, all of which were new. It is also ranked 5th in the list of European cities most attractive to foreign investors. As one of the countries considered by the World Bank to be the easiest to start a business in, Belgium has no minimum capital requirement for private limited companies, which significantly lowers the investment threshold. In Belgium, the nominal corporate tax rate is 25%, with 20% applicable to the first 100,000 euros of profit for SMEs. This is a significant advantage compared to neighboring countries. As I mentioned earlier, Belgium has one of the highest R&D incentives in the world. This page shows the government's most favorable policy for companies carrying out R&D. So companies in Belgium are entitled to an 85% tax exemption on net profits generated from IP, like patents, licenses, and software acquired through R&D. So, for example, a profit of 10,000 euros from the sale of IP obtained through R&D in Belgium would be taxed at a rate of 25% without the support of the policy, and they would be subject to a tax of 2,500 euros. However, with the policy, 85% deduction can be applied, so which changes the tax threshold to 1,500 euros multiplied by 25% tax rate, resulting in an effective tax rate as low as 3.75%. Very substantial savings. Other areas such as R&D investment and R&D staff salaries also enjoy tax credits, potentially reducing total R&D costs by 4 to 6 percentage points and salary costs by 15% to 20%. So companies interested in learning about the full range of R&D tax credits can contact me after the webinar. In order to reduce the burden for businesses, and in particular to help new businesses to control costs in the startup phase, the Belgian government has introduced a social security exemption policy. From January 1st, 2022, the first employee hired in Belgium will be exempted from paying social security contributions up to a maximum of 4,000 euros per quarter. which will be valid forever. And the 2nd to 6th employee will receive a fixed reduction in their social security contributions for a period of 13 quarters from the date of hire. And if we make the most of the deductions shown in the table, the company will save up to 110,250 euros in employment costs during the first 3 years of operation, or the first 13 quarters. And whether it's local employees or executives on assignment, quality of life outside of work is an important consideration for their long-term development in Brussels. Belgium is one of the few countries in the world that spends more than 10% of its GDP on healthcare. And Belgium has been ranked and reported as the best country in terms of healthcare infrastructure and accessibility. By participating in the Belgian social security system, employees are entitled to social security benefits, including healthcare. In terms of education, Belgium is one of the OECD countries valuing the development of education most, devoting 5.8% of its GDP to education. In addition, the 26 international schools in Brussels meet the needs of foreign families for international education. Whether you are living in Brussels with your family or on your own, there are housing options to suit your needs. Best of all, the rents here are indeed low compared to the major European capitals, even a fifth of those in London. In Brussels, enjoying metropolitan life does not have to be expensive. The graph shows the most visual comparison of the cost of living in cities around the world, with the cost of living in Brussels being much lower than that in first-tier cities such as Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Guangzhou. Now, I will give you further information regarding the ecosystem and strength of Brussels in the life sciences sector, including biopharmaceuticals and medical devices. Our life science ecosystem is characterized by small size and all necessary facilities, and all the resources are interconnected. Brussels is home to a wide range of international medical organizations in different segments. Both medical electronics equipment manufacturers and IVD brands have the opportunity to network with industry opinion leaders, attend regional professional conferences to share cases, and even participate in discussions and development of standards. The network of medical institutions consists of 14 hospitals with a total of 26 sites, including 3 of the 7 university hospitals across Belgium. So near 2 of these university hospitals, there are medical-themed incubators equipped with specialized labs, and both of these incubators were initiated with the participation of our regional government. In addition, the government-led lifetech.brussels, which focuses on the biopharmaceutical, e-health, and MedTech, has a special 6-month accelerator to help bring outstanding medical solutions to market quickly. The industry ecosystem in Brussels is ideal for companies large and small to engage in R&D and do business. The leading position of Brussels in biopharmaceuticals and medical devices is due to the Belgian policy to support the development of the industry. In particular, Belgium is the fastest European country in terms of approval time for phase 1 clinical trials, as it's a high ground for clinical trials, taking only 2 weeks. The US-based Pfizer has only 2 phase 1 clinical trial centers in the world, one of which is located in Brussels. In addition, up to 19% of European clinical trials on cancer are conducted in Brussels, making oncology an area of strength in Brussels in terms of medicine. Several world-renowned research institutes, such as the Ludwig Institute for Cancer Research and the European Organization for Research and Treatment of Cancer, run clinical trials in Brussels. The number of organizations involved in cancer research, prevention, and diagnosis and treatment is enormous. For IVD companies wanting to stand out in early cancer screening, they should perhaps consider the option of accelerating in Brussels. The excellent logistics infrastructure also reinforces Belgium and Brussels as a hub for biopharmaceutical and medical device distribution and transshipment center. Like biopharmaceuticals, IVD reagents, most of which contain biologically active substances such as enzymes, antigens, or antibodies, they require temperature control during transportation and storage. Brussels Airport, Europe's largest pharmaceutical hub, offers a solution to meet this need. Brussels has the road network in Europe and is only 40 minutes away from the port of Antwerp, Brussels, Europe's #1 export port. These important infrastructures were a major consideration for a number of pharmaceutical and medical device companies who chose to locate their distribution centers here. We're very pleased to have a rep from Brussels Airport. Later, he will give you a detailed overview of the airport's pharmaceutical logistic capabilities and redevelopment space. With policy support, sector, and logistical strengths, we have here some figures and facts to help you gain a better understanding of Brussels' strength in biopharmaceuticals and medical devices. As you can see from the picture, Belgium is very serious about R&D. In 2021, it became the European country that invested the most in biopharmaceuticals, with almost 5.2 billion euros. In the same year, Belgium's biopharmaceutical exports, including vaccines, reached 84.6 billion euros. Trade between Brussels and China has also been on the rise in the last 5 years, with plenty of scope for cooperation. The multinational companies shown in this map all have a presence in Brussels, with entities such as headquarters, marketing centers, R&D centers, distribution centers, and legal compliance offices. And the organizations and institutions listed in this picture are important contexts for biopharmaceutical companies looking to do business, conduct research, and find collaborations in Brussels. Belgium has been an important distribution and transit hub in Europe. According to a survey conducted by the Belgian Medical Technology Industry Association, 90% of the companies distribute in Belgium. As the fourth largest exporter of medical devices in Europe, Belgium's exports reached 10.902 billion euros in 2021, of which nearly 1/10 was exported to China, reaching over 92 million euros. As you can see, China's exports to Belgium show a significant increase in 2021, with many companies exporting their products to Belgium first and then distributing throughout Europe. So, which areas have the most approved clinical trials for medical devices in Belgium? You can take a look at these top 10 areas. The logos on the right hand are familiar competitors and benchmark companies for the companies attending the webinar today. So a few words about my organization. My leader Matthias gave an introduction in his opening speech already. I would like to add one more information. So the consultation is all free of charge, both for Chinese companies planning to invest in Brussels and for Brussels-based companies seeking to expand into China. And also, all the services, the consultation, are free of charge. And in Brussels, we have set up a foreign investor hub where companies can benefit from our welcome package, which includes free office space for up to 3 months and related business services before they even officially settle down. This initiative is also designed to allow investors to check out the local business environment at a lower cost before settling down. So this wraps up my presentation on investment, climate, and the life sciences sector in Brussels. Finally, I would like to conclude with a video. So the industry's players will speak out to reassure you that in Brussels, companies can rely on multilingual expertise, fast access to resources from the ecosystem, enabling business, policies, and excellent logistics network for efficient access to European markets. So let me now play the video. Thank you.
And I am working for a company organizing clinical research for pharmaceutical companies. I'm also the president of BICRO, so the Belgian Association of Clinical Research Organizers. We established our offices in Brussels, and it was quite easy to do so. You can ask advice of an accountant and you can set up the whole thing. What is also nice is to have the help of organizations like hub.brussels. We are based in the center of Brussels and we are really very close to the Federal Agency for Medicines and Health Products. What attracts me most in Brussels is really the diversity. There are a lot of people of different nationalities. Also, the cost is very low compared to other European cities. In Brussels, you have some important university hospitals. In these hospitals, you have what we call key opinion leaders. These are very important to collaborate with and to do clinical trials in Brussels. It is very easy to reach out to universities. You can have students coming to the company. You will know the students, they will know your business. And this is giving to the company an opportunity to know these top talents before they come on the labor market. We don't have to pay a headhunter or another company to bring them to us. The Brussels airport has a very good facility to manage samples or medication stored at a certain temperature. Actually, I'm born in Brussels, so to me it's a very nice city. Now also, if you look into the family life, it's a nice place to go. It's very cultural. There are a lot of museums, and also the schools are very good. So the educational level of schools is very high, which is important to the family.
Thank you all for your attention. Okay, coming next, we'll have the Senior Business and Network Development Manager from Blue Cargo, Mr. John Nunham, to kick off his presentation from airport to leading logistic platform with a video clip.
There was a time of narrow horizons, limited choices, last-minute ideas, arriving weeks too late. How life has been transformed. The same old has become new, exciting and varied, on demand. And it starts right here. We are Blue Cargo. We think out of the box. Instead of just another plane, we see flowers, fruit, and food arrive fresh from all over the globe and make sure you enjoy them that way. We don't handle, store, and distribute things, but make a world of big ambitions, bright ideas, and brilliant gifts available at the touch of a button. From small surprises to the unique and exceptional, we take it all in our stride. And when it comes to life sciences, we bring handle with care to a whole new level. Expertly managing medication and pharma equipment. Specialist crews know how to keep a cool head, so every product remains at the perfect temperature under your watchful eye. Saving and enhancing lives all over the world. We are more than just an airport. Some of the world's most exciting companies are connecting to the future right here. And while we have our feet firmly on the ground, our heads are in the cloud. Not that cloud. This one. A data platform that makes business more efficient, more transparent, and better for everyone. Working day and night, we transform out of the ordinary into the everyday. How could you forget? Into, of course I remember. Beyond cargo, beyond transportation, we are in the business of transformation. Brussels Airport, the heart of Europe.
Gentlemen, a very good day from Brussels Airport. My name is Johan Leunen, Senior Business and Network Development Manager Cargo. It is a great pleasure to participate to the Shenzhen Medical Equipment Seminar, and I would like to thank Hub Brussels for inviting us. I'm convinced that Hub Brussels will give you an overall picture of the advantages of using Brussels Airport as gateway to Europe. We hope our PPT will convince you BRU is the life science and pharma gateway of Europe. In case you have any questions, please do not hesitate contacting Matthias de Brooijer, local representative of Hub Brussels. And now our PPT, from airport to logistics platform. Share.
Yes, Mr. Lennon, could you please share your screen with us? Thank you. Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Everything okay from the other side? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for inviting us for this exciting webinar. Crystal, a very nice presentation. Congratulations. And also Matthias, thank you so much. The title says it all, from airport to leading logistics platform. And when I closely listened to the presentations given by Matthias and Crystal, it is all about logistics, and especially for healthcare and pharmaceuticals, logistics is crucial in the well-being of all mankind. But it was mentioned also by Crystal for the location of Belgium. You see there, Bru, which is the code for Brussels Airport. We're located in the middle of Europe, and it's mentioned close to or nearby Netherlands, France, and Germany. But do you see the heat map where it's the best place to put your business in Europe? The heat map is in red. That's a study which was done a long time ago. And the reason for that is not only because of the location, but in our case, especially thanks to the very good cooperation we have with customs authorities, a very, very close cooperation with them, and also our digital solutions, which we have been working on very hard. This makes it all very easy to work together and to make Brussels your entry point for any distribution in Europe. Belgium is also ranked third on the worldwide logistics LPI, which is an autonomous organization ranking all the cities in the world. But now let's zoom in on Brussels Airport. Our operations, they run 24/7, and this also includes inspection teams, for example, for life science, but especially for customs. And even after the rush and hard COVID years behind us, our network remained stable. Our cargo volumes, however, they increased a lot. Over the last 2 years, we were able to increase our cargo volumes with, for full freighters, twice more than 40% compared to the previous years, 20 to 29, and 21 compared to 20. From a network point of view, you can see that we have a strong network in Africa, but it's thanks to Hainan Airlines, Hongyan, and Sichuan Airlines that those carriers are operating on a scheduled basis, that we have a strong and direct link with China. Both Sichuan Airlines and Hongyan Group, they have seen a staggering growth in volumes, and today already they have become our most important and valued customers. But once your cargo arrives in Brussels, we are able to offer you a very extensive road feeder network with a huge intra-European connectivity. And in general, we're hooking up with the global 1, 2, 3 fast cargo flow cycle. And all this is at a very competitive cost of operation. As cargo team of industry professionals, we defined 4 segments we are focusing on. And that is e-commerce, live animals, perishables, and pharmaceuticals. But today we are here to talk about life science and pharma. With many pharma and life science research and development and producing companies located in Belgium, pharmaceuticals is key in our strategy. Most probably you are aware that we are the leading pharma gateway of Europe. We're hosting the first and the largest IATA CEIV certified airport community in the world. And our partners, they offer plus minus, more than 30,000 square meters of dedicated pharma-cooled chain warehouses. Last week, we were informed that in addition to those warehouses, Takeda, they decided for an additional 300 million euro investment near Brussels. GSK also has a package ready for 250 million euro investments in addition. And Pfizer beats it all with a 1.3 billion euro investment in life science pharmaceuticals in Belgium. In cooperation with the pharma stakeholders, we developed the Pharma Transporter. And in the last 2 years, the fleet of these air pharma transporters, they have proven the concept of a dedicated transport, controlled temperature transport at the airport airside, going from the warehouse of the handling agents right next to the aircraft. This slide gives you a brief overview of the pharma capabilities of our partners. Whether the warehouse is first line, meaning with access directly to the airside, or second line, they all offer temperature ranges from 2 to 8, 15, 25, or even -20. And the professional operators, they all handle these shipments with great care. It is thanks to the great and intense cooperation and the strong level of competence that together we managed to handle more than 1.6 billion vaccines over the last few years. A great success and unique in the world. But we're turning up efficiencies by going completely digital, and that's our goal for the coming years. 6 years back, we introduced the BruCloud. It's an open data platform sharing information with all concerned stakeholders with a final goal to offer smart digital logistical solutions available for everywhere, for everybody, and without any additional change of cost of your own system. Today, we have many different apps already working and offering a wide range of solutions. And now we are streaming the processes and integrated these solutions into the BruCargo Green Lane, which is a completely transparent way of logistics via Brussels. But what are logistics without the right infrastructure? This gives you a picture of BruCargo 1 year ago. We have 147,000 of first-line warehouse. There are more than 100 forwarding companies active in our area. But most important is that in the last 4 years, we have been investing more than 180 million euro in the facilities that you see on this slide. Ready and also having warehouses available for acceptance, storage, and transit of pharmaceuticals and life science shipments. But we're doing much more. This year we started a huge investment plan with new facilities and the first range of facilities that started already this month with an additional 34,000 square meters of warehouses going from single tenant to multi-tenant warehousing facilities. And our vision for 2040 looks something like this. This is an artist impression of how do we see our logistics platform at Brussels in 2040. But unique, however, for Brussels Airport is the cooperation throughout the whole air cargo community. Air Cargo Belgium is an organization bringing all the air cargo stakeholders together, increasing operational efficiencies, and promote and empower air cargo members at BruCargo. Not only locally, but also on an international level, we exchange our pharma and life science expertise in an organization called pharma.aero. It's a global organization of pharma experts covering the whole life science and pharma logistics chain. As you can see, we are the leading pharma gateway of Europe, and hopefully, and I'm really looking forward meeting you all next year in 2023 in China. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Lernen, for the presentation. 感谢 Mr. Lernen. 如果企业想进一步了解布鲁
So
塞
if the
尔
companies would like to know further about the logistics solutions of the Brussels airport and spaces available, you can leave a message. So our staff will help you to connect with the Brussels airport. Now let's give the floor to Ms. Sabrina Yu, sales expert consultant from Obelix Group. She will going to talk about from IVDD to IVDR, how can companies keep away from 3 traps when going to the EU market?
好的，谢谢大家，请稍
Okay,
等。
thank you. Let me share my screen first.
大家好，我是于小丽。今
Good
天呢，
afternoon, everyone. My name is Sabrina Yu. Today, we're going to talk about the IVDD shift to IVDR. And then I will talk about how can companies keep away from 3 traps when going to the EU markets. We know that EU is a very complicated market. It has 27 member states. They all have their own characteristics. And today, we are going to start from the 3 dimensions: right timing, right location, and right people, to see how can we identify the risks in those EU markets and how to avoid those traps. So first, right timing. So for IVD, if they are going to enter the EU markets, we should not miss the timing for compliance. Talking about EU compliance, we all know the CE, but is one CE in the validity period sufficient? Well, CE is recognized by the EU markets. Well, is it sufficient to have just one CE certificate? Well, there are some traps and caveats we need to look out. And by 26th of May of 2022, the IVDR fully applies from that date. So this means the CE certificate under the IVDR may become invalid in the future. So let's see a research study from a UK magazine. It says that the medical devices marketed in the EU markets may have a percentage of 3 times higher than the US in terms of the recall. So you can see that for the EU markets, they have very stringent regulation of the IVD device and medical device. And actually, in the past, it was very relaxed. And so several years ago, the IVDR and MDR were introduced. And now the regulation is being more stringent. And because of the epidemic, now we have this new IVDR fully applies from the 26th May 2022. So you see that there is a shift between the old one and the new one. You may think this is very complicated. Actually, it's not that complicated. So now let's see one of the biggest changes. That is the methodology of classification. So you can see the classification under the IVDD. So under the IVDD, 20% of the products would be medium to high risks, including self-test products and list A and list B products. For those products, it is required that the EU has required that those products has to be CE certified in order to enter into the EU markets. But for all the others, about 80% of the products, EU thinks that those medical devices are low risks and they just need to be CE filed, or they just need to do a CE notification. So you can see that under the IVDD, the control or regulation of the medical device were very much relaxed. And under the new regulation, under the IVDR, there are new changes. So the changes are disruptive. First of all, you can see that under the IVDR, there are 4 classifications, including Class A, low risks, only accounting for 20%. And then we have a B class, C class, and D class, which are medium to high risks, which accounted for 80%. So for those 80% of the products, it is required that all those companies have to pass the C certification, and they need to get the C certificate in order to enter into the European markets. So such huge changes. So the EU will provide some transitional or grace period for the suppliers and for the manufacturers. And there are 2 types of transitional periods. First of all, for those self-tested products or list A or list B products which have already got a CE certificate under the IVDD. So those certificates will be valid for up to 27 May 2025. And after that, those certificates would become invalid. And the other type is the low-risk devices under the IVDD. If they become the high-risk devices or medium-risk devices under IVDR, there are transitional periods. So from 3 to 5 years of transitional periods. So we have a typical product, which is the PCR agent. So under the IVDD, it belongs to the others category. So the control is rather relaxed and it's very easy to get access to the European markets. And also we provide a lot of customers with the CE filing certificate for a lot of our clients. And a lot of Chinese agents for COVID have been on the market. But under the IVDR, those reagents have been classified into Class D. So they have to follow the new rules by May 26, 2025. So if the products are others under IVDD and they become Class A under IVDR, there is no transitional period for those products. So those products have to follow the new rules by May 26, 2022. So we have the transitional period for Class B, C, and D. So do those products with certificate are really worry-free? So not necessarily. First, we need to understand a concept called legacy device. What is legacy device? So simple terms, legacy device are those devices with the CE mark or the filing certificate under the IVDD. So these devices are called legacy devices. So there are transitional period, and those certificates are still valid, but we need to strengthen the control. So additional documents and materials are required. For example, market surveillance and also device registration materials. These materials are additional requirements under the IVDR. So then we have to think about another issue in addition to transitional periods. So from IVDD to IVDR, what about the timing? Is there any changes in terms of timing to get the certificate? So we have to understand the difference, otherwise we'll miss the deadlines. First, let's look at the IVDD first. So under the IVDD, there are a lot of notified bodies, around 100 plus, because this is a mature market. And at that time, only 20% of the products required certificates. So the market was very much a market that you can expect. and the manufacturers know that they can have sufficient time to get a certificate before entering into the market. But under the IVDR, there are a lot of changes. So globally now we only have 7 notified bodies which were authorized by the EU. And on the other hand, 80% of the products would require certification. So it is estimated that it would take 1.5 years to 2 years to get an IVDRC certificate. So this is under the premise that many manufacturers already signed the contract agreement with notified bodies. But for many other companies, they're still in the process of contacting with the notified bodies. So if you have any plan to go into the EU market, you have to contact the notified body as soon as possible. And you have to prepare the documents in advance in order to meet the requirements of IVDR. So that's all about the right timing. Now let's look at right location. We know that the EU is like a big alliance, and if you travel in the EU, you can have a free access to the European country. So it's like going to another province in China. But for a product to go into the EU, is it as easy as the flow of people? Just using one CE certificate, is that enough? Well, first of all, let's look at the IVDD. So under the old regulation, under the IVDR, yes, one CE certificate can be sufficient for the whole EU market. And under the IVDD, you can see that each European markets have their own databases and they have their own regulations. For some countries like Italy and Spain and Greece, and they need additional national registration in order to get access to their markets. And under the IVDR, we have a new system called UDAM. This is a unified database for the EU, so it can actually help the IVD and medical device manufacturers and also the economic operators to get access to the database, and they can register the information in the database. So the purpose is to reduce the barriers between different EU countries so that we have a unified and transparent and safe markets overall. And here you can see that we can expect to use one CE certificate to go through the whole EU market, but we still need further updates. First, the EU DAM system has not been launched officially, so it is expected that in the second quarter of 2024, it will be up and running. And second, EU is consisting of different member states, and these countries are also making up their own legislation according to the latest IVDR, and those legislations have not been put in place yet. So for the products to get access to different European markets, they have to pay attention to the latest information about national registration. So you're welcome to contact Obelis to get the latest information, so to avoid any difficulties in the markets or any difficulties in the customs clearance. So good timing and the right location and the right people. Right people is the most important factor, and we need to identify the right partners. So if you do not find right partners, you will fall into traps. First is PRRC. So PRRC is a new regulation under the IVDR. Under the IVDD, there is no mandatory requirement for PRRC, but under the IVDR, there is mandatory requirement for PRRC. According to the Article 15 of IVDR, there are requirements for PRC, and not everyone is eligible for PRC. First of all, you need to have 4 years of experience or 1 year of experience and a diploma recognized by the EU. In addition, the PRC can be internal employee or external staff. This depends on the size of the company. For the small and micro companies, they can outsource the PRRC. So if you're going to use external people, you need to sign a contract with the external employee in order to ensure this PRRC can be continuously disposed and provide the services for you.
As the second criteria in choosing our PRC is the new regulations on the PRC. New responsibility has been signed to PRC. In order to be compliant on the UDEM system, there must be the enterprise own account. So the PRC need to apply for that. And also for the medical devices, whether they have been registered on UDEM system, this requires a confirmation by the agent. And also there should be additional responsibilities assigned to PRC. So if the manufacturer's products has quality issues or made compensations, and if the manufacturers are unable to make compensations, then this agent will bear the liability consequentially. So the responsibility of the PRC has changed. So cost effectiveness is important, but you still need to be more careful in conducting due diligence to better identify the background and qualifications of the agent, whether they have registered on the system or not. In addition, you may also check the risk resilience or risk management ability of the agents. For example, do they have their own PRC and also have they purchased insurances? Why do we need that? It's because the EU requires some expected liabilities for the agents if the manufacturers or if one of the customers of the agents has some problems, while the agent has no ability to address this problem, then this would affect the operation of the manufacturer as well as will affect the other customers of the company. So in choosing the agent, one should pay more attention to the professionalism and stability. And in choosing partners, the third criteria that we might be concerned with is the selection of the announcement agency. Like I said earlier, over 80% of these procedures requires a public announcement. So in selecting or in choosing these announcement authorities, you need to choose qualified ones. Because with our over one decade experience, we found some notified body, they send over a notice to us, hoping to get a CE certification or national registration. We'll find that some of these certifications are invalid because it's not recognized by the EU, or the certificates are not issued by authorized notified bodies, or the scope of authorization are not aligned with the scope of the products. So how to select a suitable notified body? You may check the list of notified bodies on the official website of EU. All of the authorized and notified bodies will be listed there. Besides, you can also check the scope of authorization. These information are also available on the website. For instance, here, a German notified body, the scope of authorization is rather wide, including toys, medical devices, and also in vitro diagnostic equipment, etc. These information can be accessed online. Besides, there's another way of screening. You may check whether this notified body has a four-digit number. In China, there are two notified bodies. They have these two 4-digit numbers respectively. So in contacting your notified bodies, you may check if they do have this 4-digit number. If no, then you may consider to not working with them. Okay, conscious of time, I'll have to wrap up here. More information is available by visiting mdlaw.eu. On this website, you are able to find IVDD and IVDR information with constant update. And again, a few words about Obelis. The company was founded in 1988. It is a local compliance service company, mainly covering the major nations in the EU, in Switzerland and Belgium, etc. We have over 3,000 customers, and also we help the top-notch customers in China, including Autobio, Fosun Diagnostics, and Sensure Biotech, and others, to provide services. If you have any further questions related to EU market and compliance requirements, feel free to contact us offline. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sabrina Yu. Yes, right timing, location, and people are all necessary. And now we have the Q&A part. Well, actually, in the sign-up stage, we have already collected some questions. So we will answer those questions first. So may I ask all our guests to be ready to answer the questions? So first question is from medical device company. So I do not have 4 years of experience in EU IVD regulatory affairs or QMS, and I do not have a degree from a EU university. So how can I take on the role of PRRC for our company?
I do not have 4-year experience in EU IVDs, regulatory affairs, or QMS, nor a diploma from an EU university. How can I be appointed PRRC in my company? 那我们就有请 Obelis 集团的 Ms. Mihalchik.
So I will ask Ms. Mihalchik from Obelis to answer this question.
Yes, hello. Thank you very much for the question. So I would like to clarify that the regulation actually gives 2 options to the manufacturer. First is to have 4 years of experience, as you said, in the relevant field, so in the QMS or regulatory affairs. But there is the second option, which is to have 1 year of experience and a diploma that was recognized by an EU competent authority. So I would propose you, if you of course possess this 1 year of experience, to go for the recognition of diploma in case you have a Chinese diploma. It's typically a simple administrative process, and this would actually allow you to comply with this Article 15 requirements by the IVDR.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Mihalchik. 那我们有下一道问题，也让
So next question is also a question for Obelis. So considering the legacy device timeline and the deadline, when should us contact the notified body in order to get the IVDR certificate? So Sabrina or Ms. Mihalchik can answer the questions. Maybe Sabrina?
我来回答吧。
So I will answer the question. So in our slides, we have explained to you the notified body. So globally, now we only have 7 notified bodies who have already been authorized. While in the market, 80% of the companies would require the CE certificate under the IVDR. So you can see the market supply is very insufficient. And for IVDR documents, they are very complicated. So we suggest that for all the companies that require CE certificate, please do it now, and please contact our notified body as soon as possible. And you need to prepare all the documents needed for IVDR. So we also provide services for you to negotiate with the notified body. We can help you to contact the notified body and help you to find the right notified body for you so that you can get the certification in time. Thank you very much, Ms. Sabrina Yu. And we have 2 questions for the Brussels airport.
So Mr. Lennon, could you please turn on your camera? 第一道问题是机场仓库
So the first question is, in terms of the airport warehouse, how much is available for rent and lease and sold?
The last word is very important. Thank you very much for the very good question. Sold, actually, we do not sell the land at Brussels Airport. We cannot sell it, it's not ours. We have a very long-term lease at operator of the airport such. But as you saw from the slides, we are redeveloping a huge part of the airport as brownfield. That's an ongoing, a very huge transformation right now. And depending on the requirements of our new customers, we can look for the best possible option, but from a logistics point of view, not only a warehousing point of view, but a logistics point of view. And I suggest that we liaise on one-on-one with interested companies. That makes it easier and a very short way to communicate.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lennon. There's another question for you. 还有一道问题是，机场可不可以帮我们对接
So can the Brussels airport help with us in terms of the truck resources and also customs clearance and goods picking?
We do not custom clearance ourselves. Let's make that clear. But we have very good relations with the customs authorities. We can introduce you to the customs authorities, to other inspection authorities as well. And yes, overall, it's actually in our genes to help companies to develop their business via Brussels Airport. And anything we can do to support those companies, we will do. We already have a large experience in that with Chinese companies now working via Brussels Airport. So yes, welcome to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Lennon. 我们相信布鲁塞尔机场以及
Yes, we believe that Oblis and Brussels group will provide a lot of services and best of class services for all our customers. So we have another question for hub.brussels. So if our company is going to visit Brussels, what services can hub.brussels offer for us?
What kind of services does hub.brussels provide when our company wants to go on prospection mission in Brussels? Matthias, could you please?
Thank you, Crystal. Well, first of all, what we are going to do is we're going to listen very carefully to your needs and see where exactly that we can help. Then we are going to give you information, can be sector-related information, but it's going to be very practical information on how you can set up your business in Brussels. Some companies contact us related to their visa application. What we can do there as a trade and investment promotion agency is that we give you all the necessary information for you to apply for your visa to visa application center. Also in Brussels, we help you facilitating the meetings, to arrange the meetings via the Why Brussels partner network, which is a selected network of business partners, service providers. 2 of them you have met today already, Oblis and Brussels Airport, and but many others too in the field of legal, in the field of tax and accounting, etc., etc. In a nutshell, we provide tailor-made support for you to identify the right opportunities and also to make the right choices. A very helpful tool there is the welcome package that Crystal already mentioned, which provides you free of charge office space for 3 months.
Thank you, Matthias. 对的，我们布鲁塞尔外国投资
Yes,
与
indeed. So hub.brussels is ready to provide services for all of you. You're welcome to contact us. So I'd like to thank all the guests for your answers. In the interest of time, we do not have the opportunity to answer every question, but you can contact us through the WeChat account or through other channels. You're welcome to follow our WeChat accounts. So all the information and events we published on the WeChat official accounts. This is the end of the webinar. I'd like to thank all the partners, including Obelisk Group and Brussels Airport, and also would like to thank our supporting partners, including Shenzhen Medical Device Industry Association, Shenzhen Life Science and Biotech Association, and Zhuhai Association of Enterprises for Foreign Economic Cooperation. Also, I'd like to thank all of your participation. Invest in Europe, Choose Brussels webinar on investment, environment, logistic capabilities, and compliance in Europe for medical device sector has now been concluded. And lastly, I wish all of you good health and all the best for your business. Thank you and goodbye.